noticing with the markets, there's a little bit of a mean reversion happening with very slight with equities. And oil seems to be going down slowly. But what is interesting here is that Bitcoin is now trading at 62,000. It doesn't want to come back up.
What's up with the tech sell-off?
It seemed to be starting in Korea. And the rumor is that there's so many retail investors that are leveraged that they're getting blown out. There's a lot of leveraging in the equity market tied to this tech industry. Now, there's also some concern of chips, the memory chips. I don't know if it's DRAM or whatever, but the memory for the data centers, these companies are switching. Some of the suppliers for these memory chips, they said that they're moving their production for PCs. And not for data centers. But it seems as though there is a demand shift that's happening. And so the individuals that are heavily involved in these hyperscalers are starting to pair their positions. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but it seems as though it has something to do with the memory chips and where the demand will be. Is it at the local level or is it going to be at the hyperscale level? And there are so many retail investors in Asia that are leveraged, they're getting blown out with their account.
The Asian people, they play a lot more stocks than regular Americans. And in the morning, all these old geezers wake up in the morning and they'll go to the exchange and watch, on the board. It's like their social life.
It's almost like their version of betting or horse races.
Yeah. Same in Korea, same in Taiwan. I'm not sure about Japan.
Oh, so Bloomberg has a article here. FOMO with AI trades tied to Taiwan. So afraid of missing out.
Bloomberg has a trade with Taiwan with
Bloomberg has an article about the FOMO trade in Asia because of these chips from Taiwan. So it's not just leverage, it's retail investors afraid of missing out on the AI trade. So too many people are jumping in. I don't know. I do think if you look at an analysis, there's a strong support level at 6,800. 6,800 for the S&P 500. Very strong support level. So it could drift down to that. We're at 7,394 right now. But I suspect that this could go down to maybe 250 to 7,250 and then bounce back up to 7,600. That's the reason why I think nibbling at this and just add some positions is a good idea. But what's interesting is how Bitcoin is selling off as oil is starting to come down.
Bitcoin is selling off because, S&P stocks are doing so well. The return is 15%. So, it's better to invest in stocks right now. And, I'm expecting Android and OpenAI to come in and Anthropic to come in all this year. you know, it's a great time to buy right now. Just get your position ready. You know. I think the war with China is getting closer.
Oh, for sure.
But you know, it's interesting because in DrPaulCottrell, they didn't want to do IPO. So,
DrPaulCottrell did not want to do an IPO.
huh?
Really?
Yeah, they don't want to do it. They're doing very well on their own, and you know they didn't really want to do IPO. They people have been asking them to do IPO, but they didn't want to until suddenly this year. I don't remember the reason why. I forgot, but you know, they didn't have to. They have so much private investors. You know, so they're expanding their drone business. You know, then what are they making it for? You know, drones are like for wars and stuff like that. But you know, if there's a war coming, Anthropic will make so much more money, and that requires capital. More capital. So, do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
So it's kind of, why do you need to make so many drones? So in times of war, you know, I think SpaceX will go up in value, and so is Anthropic, and all these defense companies, you know. And it's just a great time to jump on the wagon, you know, along with AI and stuff like that. You know. But I don't know. Do you think these companies should go public?
I think that you're bringing up a very good question. They need to strike the iron when it's hot. The question is, will the S&P 500 in the next 12 months be at an all-time high? I don't know. I think we'll be at an all-time high by year end. I'm not so sure in the next 12 months if that's the case. Secondly, there's pushback on individual companies telling their staff, slow down on the usage of the AI because the token costs are too high and they are above budget. So if that's the case, then there's less querying to access the LLMs. Another big concern is local versus cloud in terms of AI, hyperscaler versus local. And as NVIDIA brings to market these computers that are AI computers,
yeah,
there's going to be less need for the hyperscalers access for smaller businesses. For big businesses, you may still need them. And this is the same thing that happened in the computer revolution in the 60s and the 70s. It's always going back and forth between client-based computing, which you have to access a server, versus local-based computing. And it always goes back and forth, You know, so we were 12 months ago, 6 months ago, maybe even 4 months ago, heavily investing in the idea of client-based activity. Now, with this big NVIDIA move, the next 6 months or a year and a half from now, it may actually be local. So people are wondering, well, wait a minute here, should they get out of the hyperscalers? Okay, so that's the backdrop to answer your question.
And then what?
So now you have all these AI companies that are private at the moment. They're looking at Oracle, which is a major hyperscaler, and they're starting to have problems. So they may as well jump into the stock market now and cash in before the money dries up. So I would not invest in Anthropic. I've been playing around with the idea of jumping in and out of SpaceX. I've been watching it. I have leveraged. I've been looking at some of the leveraged ETFs to be able to short and to long it based on my collar and
my
straddle
opinion.
strategy. But the thing is that I'm not so sure. I don't feel very confident in the AI investment boom the next 24 months. I think there's going to be a correction.
Well, I think that when something is born, something new is born, it's always going to be chaos in the beginning. And I think very soon, it's like the dot-com bubble. You know, everything goes so smoothly and exciting in the beginning, and then suddenly, you know, something happened, and it was not getting the results. So these AI companies, you know, there's a lot of them. I think I can see mergers. You know, the problem with SpaceX is that, you know, they can swim the S&P on their own by the sheer market value. You know, because it's like fucking $2 trillion. I don't know. Some obscene amount.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's all paper. If you really look at the true balance sheet, because you're talking about something that, I don't know, 30 times revenue, 30 times value.
Heavy weight into a basket, you know, and everything depends on it. It's like, you know, it's like sitting right next to a really fat person. You know, it creates instability. So I don't know. I think it's dangerous. SpaceX is not stable. We haven't seen any numbers yet. You know, like, okay, how much money are they making out of the stupid, you know, the satellites are making money. But okay, so what? What else? Tesla is making money. Okay.
It's very, you know, the thing is that when you look at Anthropic, it's easier to talk. It's easy on one side of the coin to say, well, they're going to be a profitable company. They have good revenues, right? But it's not an Elon Musk company. It doesn't have the premium of an Elon. And shorting Elon never works. I mean, Bill Gates tried to short Elon Musk and he lost money. He kept on trying to short Tesla and he lost money in his portfolio. Yeah. So betting against Elon is not a great idea, historically. Now, Anthropic seems to have at least, you know, a little bit more realistic cash flows and customers, but it's not this visionary thing like Elon. I mean, Elon is just like, he's the closest thing to Steve Jobs that we have. I mean, he's just so far out there that no one comes close. I mean, when the guy is trying to build rockets to land, you know, by land in chopsticks, I mean,
I don't know. A data center sounds good, but I'm not sure. It's gonna take 50 years to build.
Well, the thing is do we even need it? If it goes local, do we even need a cloud that's in the sky, in orbit? What I noticed in my experience in corporations that jump into new technologies early and try to adopt processes and to improve their corporation have a tendency to waste money. They almost need to let it just ferment a little bit. The technology needs to age a little bit before you go in and try to implement processes. And I think there are too many companies out there that are jumping on the AI bandwagon, and they're gonna just be wasting a ton of money. It's almost better to jump in after the second or third version than to jump in at the first version. Think about just a year ago where AI was. Well, people were spending all this money at the corporate level to jump on AI. Did they really get a return on their investment? No. To be honest, no. Now, all of a sudden, just recently, even though that they've set up these budgets and cut some staff and dedicated certain staff to try to streamline processes using AI agents, they're finding that the querying to the hyperscalers for the tokenization is way above budget. And so they're telling their staff to stop using it. So they don't even know they don't even know the true cost structure to budget. They have no idea how to truly that they're going to see a return on their investment, either by reducing costs, improving efficiency, or bringing up the top line. It's all pie in the sky right now. And now Siemens, which is interesting, but Siemens just did a interview today on Bloomberg talking about their digital twin of the factory floor. So you can take any factory floor, let's say CNC machines where you're cutting metal, right? And they have an AI that is taking the data of the speeds and feeds of the cutting machine, and then when the machine's done and the part is measured through what's called probing, when the part is probed and they notice that it's moving out of tolerance, the AI will automatically adjust to get it back into tolerance. But the thing is that most of the time, the reason why something gets out of tolerance is because the cutter gets too small. It gets worn out. So all you're doing is just changing the cutter. So if you just use some common sense on the machine floor, you don't need to be paying a license fee to Siemens for an AI to tell you to change the cutter in the machine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what's happening is that individuals on the shop floor are just not using their experience. Or they're willing to hire people with no experience. And it's cheaper for them to buy this AI system by Siemens instead of hiring experienced machinists and manufacturing engineers. But 90% of the time, part is out of tolerance because of the cutter, or the speeds and feeds have changed. But these machines are running on what is called G code. And these codes are created by a computer for computer manufacturing, computer-aided manufacturing, CAM. So as long as the code is fine and has been tested, normally it's tested before it's implemented, and it's making the 10,000 widgets. If it goes out of tolerance, it's most likely just a few variables on why it happened, and you just have to go back to baseline and make sure the cutter is the right size, make sure the speeds and feeds are correct, and the coolant is working, and all this stuff. You don't need an AI to tell you this. I mean, it's just, to me, having such a strong manufacturing background and design and engineering, I do not understand why people are buying into the Siemens digital twin of the manufacturing floor for part tolerance. I do see the virtual reality of a digital floor, and when you are changing a product, like going from an SUV to, let's say, like a pickup truck, and seeing what needs to be changed, that makes sense, and running the simulation for that. But I think they're overplaying. They're trying to convince people to pay an annuity to these companies where you buy a suite and they're telling you how to run your machine floor, instead of just leveraging the manufacturing engineers that are actually, and the statistical quality control experts. You don't need, I think we're buying into things that we don't need. Do you really need your life AI? Yeah, you could probably make everything automated for you.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that I noticed with algorithmic trading. Automatic algorithmic trading, without a human interference, will lead to automatic bankruptcy.
I mean, the thing is, with the AI revolution, I think at least 65% to 70% is true. The wave is coming. They're producing powerful, machines that could help the companies. That's why all the companies are going in and spend capital expenditure on these data centers, because it helps their business, So, it's true. It is useful. But the problem is when you build that bridge from the corporate, bring it to the consumers. Yeah, I like on YouTube, right? I've seen like fake drama. I've seen like, fake, like a lot of people do graphics using AI and stuff like that. But so the front end, for people like you and me, we do we really need AI?
No.
We don't really, and then it's only gonna make our cost of living actually more expensive.
Exactly. Now expand that to the corporation. Expand that to the corporation,
but
where you have some divisions that may benefit marginally, and you have other divisions that won't benefit as much, but yet you have this larger cost structure that you have to budget for, and all of a sudden your revenues start to decline. What do? You gotta cut expenses. So the bean counters are gonna say you gotta stop you have to slow down on your tokenization, and you have to, for your querying for the AI, and you're gonna have to start laying off people in your department. There's an extra layer of cost to these companies where they're becoming burdened, especially when there's a downturn. This is all being built out when everything's good. What happens when things get bad? And it always gets bad. I mean, it's just like the cycles of economies. Things are good sometimes, and things once in a while turn bad. But when it does turn bad, what will happen to the job market? What will happen to actually the need for AI? And then there's the sociological blowback. When people get laid off and it's structural, they'll start getting so pissed off at Copilot and Anthropic and all these AI companies that there's going to be a social backlash that did not happen before.
You think?
Yeah, I know so. Look at what just happened after Lehman, with the whole Occupy movement. There'll be an Occupy movement. There'll be an Occupy movement. There'll be an Occupy movement for the structural unemployment that's coming.
I think, you know, the AI does help, let's say, like, you know, some people with writing or search, you know, search on answers and stuff like that. But is it going to be like as revolutionary as like the internet? You know, I mean, I definitely see that it's going to grow on people, especially younger people. You know, they're a lot more receptive to new technology than us. You know, we're like dinosaurs. If we're not dinosaurs, we're already turtles. You know, we're slow and hard to adjust and hard to change because, you know, our lifestyle has all been already. But the young people are sure. You know, big part is AI. Big part, you know, especially when you do search engines and stuff like that.
I think AI, search for AI, some processes in a corporation can be improved, but once that is already played out, you won't need to access the frontier models as often. And as the technology becomes cheaper and it gets to local computer level, you won't. It's all local. You won't be paying an annuity per year. Like the way these private equities companies are thinking this is all going to play out is that you're going to forever have to pay $100 a month or $200 a month at the private level to be able to access the AI. And then a corporation is going to have to pay $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 for a suite to be able to access the AI. That's what they're betting on. Now, when people are starting to say, well, wait a minute here, the AI, once it gets built out and you build these agents for your company, and every time you hit go to have the agent run, you're getting billed, people are going to start getting pissed off, and they're going to start figuring out ways to build the agent internally and all locally, remodel it locally, and no longer will the hyperscalers be able to charge you an annuity.
I mean, you know, have to look at their earnings, you know, after all this capital expenditure, you know.
Same thing happened during the railroad. There were two things that happened during the railroad bust. One, it wasn't so much that they overbuilt, it was that they over leveraged with these trusts. They issued trust certificates, it wasn't regulated, and it was all funny money. And so it blew up a lot of banks. So that was one problem. Another is the business model assumed that they had monopoly power with the pricing. And once everything crashed, the prices dropped. The same thing is going to happen here. There's an over reliance of leverage building this out, where they're going to borrow money, just like what SpaceX is doing, just like what Oracle did with building out their, even though they're cash cows, Oracle's a cash cow, but they're feeling the pressure and they have to go to the debt market to issue bonds. Okay, so now this is being layered on debt. Debt is being used to build this out. When the cash flows don't meet the projection, this thing's going to collapse. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to go away, but this heyday is going to collapse, just like the railroads. Just like the railroads. We still have railroads today, and people use them, and it benefits society, but it's nowhere near the utopic dream of J.P. Morgan.
Yeah, I mean, there's a point. There's that tipping point when there's going to be too much. And have we reached that point yet? Like too much, and it's collapsed. You understand what I mean? Right now,
Right.
I think there's still room to grow and build, but eventually we're going to reach that point where it's too much, and that the population is not catching up yet. You know.
Right. But I think there's a little bit of room to grow, but this burst is probably going to happen in 12 months.
You think?
I think so. Or less. 12 months or less. But AI will be here to stay, but I think the euphoria will burst.
Yeah, that's why, you know, we can't really give up. NVIDIA is correct. Jensen Wen is right. We can't really give up China.
Well,
we need the Chinese market. Otherwise, you know.
When I was at Catholic Charities and we were investing in certain types of software for accounting, what the CFO mentioned, when they were starting to invest in this software 9 years ago or whatever, right? At the time of when he made the statement, 9 years before, he bought into the idea, okay, invest in the software and it'll be cheaper. But when you looked at the actual numbers on how much was invested for 9 years and the number of people that were employed to maintain it, actually it cost more to have the software than not to have the software. Because of the maintenance agreements, because of the, paying for the new version and hiring people to maintain the software. And it was better not to have implemented the software into the company because there's this accumulative effect cost. And this is what I call the software annuity.
Yeah.
So it's when people buy into the idea that they need a software suite or an AI suite or whatever, they need to think really carefully that these costs accumulate, and they don't go down; they usually go up year over year or every year or every other year. And what happens is that you start to realize that you don't get as much of a benefit. You have diminishing returns. And sometimes it's better to just shed the software.
Mm-hmm.
Not always, but so a lot of companies are in this phase where they're buying into something because they think they need it. They're being told they need it. They're afraid that the world is changing. They have to be right on the cusp. You have a lot of employees that want to put on their resume that they have experience in AI and implementing a software within or a certain process within the company, so they can jump ship and get higher pay. So you have that dynamic too. But the reality of the situation is when you look at this 5 years down the road, I think many companies are going to realize that they do not really get much benefit for the actual cost. The total cost to implement and to maintain.
Yeah, but I think what's really going on is the application itself. If you look at the .com bubble, the reason for the .com bubble is not over exuberance or anything like that. It was because they created a lot of internet companies that was actually useless. But if you have if the companies were producing, creating, websites or application that has a lot of value, things wouldn't go south. People were thinking that, they were going to be able to create, really useful applications. So the same fate is going to come to AI. Are they going to just think, just because it's AI, so it's good, No, people are going to come to the realization that all this money is just for nothing. All these people coming up with all these different ideas for AI and stuff like that, half of them would fail because it's just not good. And it has to be tested out in the markets and with the people. And so, that's where things go south. It's not because the concept itself is bad. It's because, the idiots are just too dumb and not know how to use it. So, they kept saying that, it's going to replace a lot of computer science jobs and stuff like that. I actually think the opposite. I think we actually need more and better computer science people to really bring AI into fruition. Because, AI is still a tool. Yeah, they can replace some of the lower end jobs, like some of the maintenance or whatever. But, when it comes to invention, you still need someone like Steve Jobs who can say, okay, I'm going to use AI on this and on that. It's not for AI to decide on its own.
Well, you're bringing up a good point here.
Of course.
No, the good point is that we have a technology out there that we call AI, but we don't have a Steve Jobs to be able to package it so everyone wants to use it.
That's vital, and the thing is, he's not a computer science major, but he knows what he wants. But still, he needs to work with a computer science major to bring to fruition.
Well, I mean, just look at it from a personal level.
So
Would
actually,
you pay?
we still need computer science, people.
Yeah, but look at it from a personal level. People want to buy something. They own it. They're not charged a monthly fee or an annual fee, and they want less stuff and less aggravation, less tech. They don't want to be burdened. They don't want to be burdened by the amenities of modern life.
You are a very capable person, so you don't really need it. But not everyone is like you, okay? You'll be the last ones to catch on while everyone else is catching up. Because you're smart, you don't need it, and also you don't want to spend the money. So, but for other people, they're not as capable. If they're not as capable and AI can do a better job for them, they will pay.
So basically, the whole business model is that they have an annual.
Person,
yeah,
so
but
they're not going to be able to make money out of it.
I think people want a life that is decluttered with stuff, physical stuff,
I don't know what you're talking
but also
about.
declutter the technology. We're over-teched our lives. I think people want humanity.
I think you're getting older, and I think what you're saying is not really. I'm sorry,
Then why are there so many people that are canceling their Facebook account?
I don't know. They want something else. It's not good enough.
Yeah, maybe they want humanity back.
You can't just take one example and apply it to everything, honey.
All right, just
cancel something.
Do you think that Zuckerberg actually helped mankind?
I mean, even if they cancel Netflix, they still watch you too.
Oh, check this out. This is breaking news. Cuomo to lead crypto venture with NYSE owner. So he's going to do a joint venture. Andrew Cuomo is going to be doing some joint venture in crypto.
Yeah, I mean, Trump always wanted crypto. And Walsh is a big crypto guy. You know that, right? He's got like 10 different cryptos. And I think it might be a necessary evil. As much as it is. If they bring in some regulations, maybe you would be more stable and more successful because, you know, the dollar being the dominant dollar for such a long time, it's becoming, you know, I mean, now that Iran can sell oil in US dollar because they lift the sanction, which means that they can make more money selling to countries that's not China, because China has been paying them cheap, you know. But now they sell to other countries, they make a lot more money. That's a great deal. I thought it was a very smart deal. But should we always peg the dollar to the oil, petrodollar to oil? You know, I think you know, it's probably time to think of something else. And you know, whatever they do, I mean, we know this is coming. We know that this is coming.
I think people need to worry more about coffee futures going up than crypto. I guess there are some rain issues. There's too much rain, I think, in Brazil, and it's causing a problem with the harvest for coffee.
There's this big mistrust, like people don't trust cryptocurrency. So are they going to be able to generate as much, you know? Because if you think about it, right now, S&P and all the stocks are like 10, 15%. There's no point in going to because back then when interest rate were like fucking 0 or 1%, 2%, you know, yeah, you have every reason to go into crypto. Now it's taken away. It's just not necessary. So is this the best time to buy crypto? Maybe buy while it's cheap. And because, you know, if the market crash, if there's a market crash or, you know, big turbulence in the market, you know, then Bitcoin would go up. You know, people still need something stable, and it's not going to be the dollar. It's like you can't peg dollar against every single thing. Okay, the dollar pegged with oil. Okay, that's fine. And then the dollar pegged with Bitcoin. You know, that it's just that in itself, it's just conflicting. So, you know, I think they know what they're doing. I don't think it's a Ponzi scheme. I think it's for real. We'll have to see how they can. How they get.
Zuckerberg just breaking news. Zuckerberg directed Meta to create prediction market app.
Create what?
Prediction market app.
What's that?
He's making a new app to do prediction markets, like that Poly market.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, you know.
You know what it is that Zuckerberg always is chasing other people. I mean, think about it. Facebook was nothing but MySpace. More successful, but it was MySpace that sold ads and you know, and tracked you.
He has deviated from Facebook for a long time now because Facebook is dead. There's nothing new in Facebook.
You know,
that's why he's doing the glasses. He's doing some virtual reality shit. Yeah. You know, he's doing some other products. Otherwise, his company is gonna die. You know, so you know, market prediction and stuff like that. You know, I think that's something that Bloomberg should be doing. You know.
I think regulatory-wise, they can't.
Well, I'm sure they're going to.
But there's a good point that you're making. They could make a software where they're only doing probability studies. They're not collecting money. I I think what Zuckerberg's trying to set up, because he was trying to set up this crypto, his own cryptocurrency, Libra or whatever he called it, and to do prediction markets and scalp the actual transaction. Yeah, but the thing is that that's true. Okay, all right. Someone will make an app. The problem is, and I have over 20 years of experience in this subject matter. The moment you create a system that predicts and more people use it, it's no longer valid because there's a sociological feedback loop that makes it less.
Yeah, because if
accurate.
people
People game the system.
Yeah,
there's a reflexive.
If 80% of the people believe it, all you have to do is just bet against all these 80% of people.
Right.
That you win every single time.
Right. So these prediction models always have to be reparameterized.
You know, I told you about that show in Taiwan. It's a marketing. It's a not market, but they talk about the stock market and all that. Right? I told you they already have a AI analyst as one of the panel, and they would ask the AI what do they think about the stocks, what do they think about all sorts of questions, and then the AI analyst would tell them what AI thinks, and it's already happening.
But the reality of the situation is it's not the AI with cognition, it's AI querying and calculating behind the scenes what other people have said. If other people stop publishing into the internet about what they think, the AI gets done.
Yeah.
It's not the AI's thinking, the AI is just regurgitating what the consensus is.
No, it would just be like cheating. Like in gambling, if you know who has what cards. I mean, if let's say Meta, they can calculate how many options are out there. Then that's like cheating.
Well, that's why a lot of these foreign exchange brokers, they know so many positions. They know how to play the game.
Yeah,
and the same thing with Goldman Sachs. It's the same thing with Goldman Sachs. They play the game. Because they have insider information. They play the other side. They know where the movement of the market's going.
Yeah. So I think people, it would just be something for people to talk about, the predictions, and I assure you, in 2 months, there'll be 10 other companies who come out with their own version of the prediction, whatever. It's like fortune telling. The fortune telling is one of the oldest profession, I mean, all the way 5,000 years, 10,000 years back, people were already doing predictions. So, I'm not surprised that there will be various different kinds of prediction. There'll be, a prediction based on Chinese I Ching or ancient Chinese philosophy, and some other, there's some really famous fortune tellers in Taiwan that even the American people, they would come seek them out, because fortune telling in China is forbidden. So that
wait, it's forbidden?
It's dying, but in Taiwan it's thriving. I mean, there's.
Why is fortune telling forbidden in China?
Because communism has no religion. So if you try to do prediction, that's against the law.
So the whole idea of the Chinese New Year and how people react on a certain year based on their birth date, that's all illegal?
That's culture, but that's not religion. They have no idol. They don't go, like in Taiwan, Chinese New Year, you go to the temple and stuff like that. In Asia, in China, not a lot of people do that. Yeah, you still have temples, but those temples are fake. They put Xi Jinping's picture right next to the Buddha. it's the desecration of Chinese culture by the Chinese communists is horrendous. It's horrendous. It's unrecognizable. So what I'm saying is, this, it's just like the chaos. Remember three-body problem? Everybody's trying to have their own algorithm to try to predict the calm period versus the chaotic period when it's going to end. It's going to be like that. And then and no one is going to be really able to safely predict the future, because one thing I learned from, I was studying psychology, was my major, and one thing I can tell you is there is no fucking way to generalize everyone into one single fucking theory. And that's why I think this whole psychology thing is bullshit.
I think the same thing.
You can have some sort of reference,
right.
But it could not be a theory, like a fucking theory. Like, oh, you're telling me who I am just because I'm this, I'm that. No, fuck you. People are complicated. The problem with the AI and the people, AI versus people, is that AI could never understand why people are stupid and make mistakes. And that's why AI could never correctly predict what humans would fucking do. Because we're not perfect, or we're illogical. Yesterday, I was thinking about having strawberries. Suddenly today, I don't want to have strawberries, and I don't know why.
Well, you're bringing up a good point. You're bringing up a good point, because computer models typically, even if they have lots of variables, have to be parsimonious. They have to be somewhat dumbed down to be manageable. And it oversimplifies the system that they're modeling. Humans are, I think humans at times are rational, but there's also a lot of irrationality with humans. Yeah. And because it's stochastic and irrational, it is impossible to accurately model it. Impossible. And that's why anyone that says that they can model the market, the financial markets, they don't realize that there's a feedback and an irrationality on top of event news that just comes out of the blue, that affects the herd. There's a herd effect mentality for survival. So there's a lot of things that happen. So the ones that do the best in financial trading, I think, are ones that realize, don't buy into a model too much, and realize that things can turn on a dime very quickly, and to be prepared for that, to have enough powder dry to be able to weather the storm.
Yeah, so basically AI is all the fuss for nothing.
Yep.
Because humans will always be one step further than the AI, because AI had to catch on, and it has to see the results of what humans do to be able to go into the algorithm, and then have the output of a quote unquote prediction, while humans are already chaos. And people do stupid things all the time. So and people simplify their life by buying ETFs. They're just buying an S&P ETF and all that, because that's the easiest thing to do. And AI is just always going to be one step behind. Yeah, it could tell us, as like, if you ask them, what is it? Compare Harvard and Yale. Compare Harvard and Yale in terms of history major, computer science major. Yeah, it would do a really good job analyzing those things, because those things are easy to analyze. But for the future, I think Mark Zuckerberg is a fucking Ponzi scheme, dishonest guy. The dishonesty. He thinks that he can try to move the market by creating this app, and so that if if enough people follow it, you can make a lot of money out of it. So it's cheating. So the whole thing about Mark Zuckerberg, suddenly now he's very good friends with Trump, it just tells me there's something going on. And then now you're telling me that he's coming out with this thing, and you know what? You know, he's gonna get the license for it, and then he's gonna be able to make more things out of it. It's not gonna just be prediction. I think he's gonna be able to, people is gonna be able to trade, you know, with the system, because there's so much money now.
Right.
I mean,
so he's going to try to go into fintech.
Yeah.
He's going to try to go into fintech, and he's already played around with his own cryptocurrency, with that Libra.
Yeah.
And so he's going to try to go into this whole stablecoin fintech world. He'll blow up. He'll blow up.
That's why he's in love with Trump right now, because he needs the licensing.
Yeah.
So once you know he's gotten up, once he's that's what I think, because otherwise there's absolutely no point to do a prediction app. You know, how you make money out of it? People are not going to subscribe to it. You know, so it's going to turn into some sort of trading platform probably.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably going to be subscription based, like every month you pay $5. You know, something like that. Because now that he is smart, because right now the market is so huge. What is the total market cap right now? It's like, I don't know, $10 trillion, $20 trillion. I don't know what's the total right now. But just think about, you know, so he'd be like a broker. He would be like a broker. Like
he's trying to. He's
just a middleman making money left and right. And you know what? I hate brokers, because they never take position. They would never take position. They always win. I have absolutely no problem yelling at my brokers, like, what the fuck is this? You know? Because they don't take any position. They give you something, they say, oh, this seems to be good, you know? And you have to sign, it's all on you. You can't sue the broker. You can't sue them.
You can't sue a broker if they didn't do a good job?
No, because it's all give and take. You have to do your own diligence and analysis, and you should look. They can say anything. They can say, "Oh, this pig is gonna be the next Miss America," and they can do it. Up to you to make the correct prediction, and if you believe it, you buy the pig. It didn't turn out to be a princess. Well, so that's on you. So Mark Zuckerberg is.
Yeah, but if you bought something and they sold you something different, you can sue the broker.
It's hard to sue. Yeah, you can, but it's still hard to sue. You know, but then if Mark Zuckerberg is coming out with this, you really think Fidelity or Charles Schwab is not going to be doing the same? They're going to be doing the same thing. But the problem with these broker dealers is that they have no technology. While Facebook is a tech company in itself, so it's easy for them to make, and they have a lot of AI. They have a lot of data because all the Facebook, all the stupid people who sign up, give themselves for free, So, and there's a lot of people talking about stock market on Facebook and all that. So, it's very easy for them to make an app like that. Well, Charles Schwab and Fidelity, they're not a tech company. They're gonna have to hire people, another company, to build something like that for them. So they're gonna have to catch on. Maybe Bloomberg. I think Bloomberg might be able to pull this quickly, pull this out quickly, because they're a tech company. somewhat, their tech
I'm
company.
willing to bet that they have a function on the terminal that is prediction. It has some sort of prediction market.
Yeah,
terminal.
they probably already have that kind of function, but it's not. Is it going to be as sophisticated? But you see, people always like new things, so people will definitely try the new, prediction thing from Meta. They wanted to give it a try and see what the difference is. And some people was going to move from Bloomberg to Meta, and some people would stay with Bloomberg. It's all about, but what's the most important thing is the licensing. He can't get the license. All he can do is just a prediction app, and people can subscribe to it, but there's no broker-dealer at all. Whereas Bloomberg, all the corporates trade on Bloomberg. Bloomberg is one part of their SOP, from the front end to the back end. It's built very tightly. So it's going to be really, really hard for Meta to really come in. I think Meta is for.
Well, they're trading API. Their API to plug into the terminal for the data.
Right.
Is really good. I mean, it's excellent. I mean, it's very high end.
So Meta is probably going after the retail customers, like you and me. We don't have corporate behind us to do all this API and link all the systems together, because they do volume. They do, every day they billions of dollars and all that shit, so that's good for the corporate. But there's also a lot of money in retail. So, especially young people. So this is all geared towards the young generation.
Less stressed because of the Iran deal seems to be going in the right direction.
Yeah, it's going to come through. Because it's a good deal for Iran. It's a good deal for Iran. Money talks. I tell you, money talks.
I was just a little surprised that there's a sell-off on the S&P 500 today, but it is related to what happened in Asia.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you, Hong Kong, not Hong Kong, Korea's market, that's unstable. South Korea's market, I mean, they're just...
They have their own problem. But guess what? SpaceX, you know where they get their engineers? They're scouting from TSMC from Taiwan. They're paying them 5 times more of their salary to fucking go to Texas or wherever, and not a lot of people are going. He's offered 5 times to get the TSMC engineers to go, but it's funny. It's funny. Because how is he going to build up whatever he wants so quickly? You got to think about all these. It's all, I tell you, a successful project cannot come to fruition without a successful
I think there's an awful lot of college graduates, newly minted, or even...
They have no experience.
Well, of course, but the thing is that there's an awful lot of juniors, seniors, and newly minted graduates that would love to go into aerospace.
Yeah.
They love it. Just is like it's such a dreamy kind of industry.
Yeah.
It's something to talk around the family table years to come. That one worked in the aerospace industry.
Yeah.
Either in weaponry or in space exploration, rocketry, defense, whatever. But I mean, just the aerospace industry is going to be pretty cool to be in. Kind of similar to when I was in automotive. I mean, it's a cool industry to be in. Most people don't do something that cool in their life.
Yeah. That's why people are betting on SpaceX, because of the idea of it, not the fruition. We haven't seen anything yet. Yeah, Starlink is very successful, but okay, what's next? you know. But you don't get all this money for the same thing. You got to do something new with it. And so he's going to have the data center.
I personally think that he could just flex his muscle and say he's going to open up Starlink to cell phones, and people are going to no longer have AT&T or Verizon and just have Starlink.
I fucking hate AT&T Verizon.
That's what I'm saying. It's just it's a perfect opportunity to get into the telecom industry.
Yeah. I mean, people in Ukraine are using Starlink.
Right,
you know.
and he's also beaming the internet to your home with you know, so you can easily have the Starlink receiver on anyone's home. So it's internet. So he's taking away money from Comcast or, you know, these other fiber optic companies.
I was thinking exactly the same thing. Like, what is T-Mobile's plan against Starlink? What is AT&T's plan against Starlink?
There is no plan.
They're going to be wiped out.
Yep.
They're going to be wiped out so fast. And then there's another very important question: the monopoly. Because now, if everybody signs up to Starlink, he's going to be able to build up so much data, he's going to make it cheap so that everyone would go to Starlink, and he'll be able to collect all the data from everybody's conversation and make even more money out of it. And the problem is, there's no competition. Who's the competitor? There's no competitor. And that for me, that's a problem, because that means, you know, we have no choice. No one, and it's bad. It's bad when there's no competition. In a free market, you need to have competition. So who's going to compete against Elon Musk?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you would think that Blue Horizon would slowly creep up into that realm. It's possible. They're way far behind.
And you know what? Verizon, AT&T, and all these companies, they deserve to be wiped out, because we pay so much money. We pay a lot of money, almost like $100 a month on one line.
Right. And
what kind of service do we get? We get crap, lousy service. Internet service is just as bad. And so, they deserve to be wiped out. Or they're going to have to merge with each other to survive. They're going to have to come up with a plan to be able to send, satellites into space. But the other problem is that space is maxed out. There's no more real estate. It's not like you can shoot 1,000 satellite up there and no, it's the space for satellites is maxing out. There's not a lot of space left. And it's all dominated by Starlink, and also the only competitor I can think of is actually China. China has been sending a lot of satellites, spy satellites, into space, but they're too stupid. They don't know how to commercialize it, because they're not capitalists. All they think about is spying. But they have a lot of satellites up there too, and they're not bad. They're actually pretty good. But of course, the American side, we also send a lot of satellites up there, along with Starlink and everything. Right now, the number of satellites, compared Starlink to China, Starlink is still a little bit more, but China also dominates. At least, I would say, at least 2/5. So they have. So if China wants to compete, they could be a big. They could cover Asia. Starlink is going to cover Europe, America, and all that. China could probably get the majority of the market in Asia. So that would be the only competitor that I can think of. And Europe is just a dump, It's sad. It's sad to see that Europeans are so embroiled in their own fucking stupid woke ideology that they're just, you know.
I think Britain is trying to get out of it. They're trying to reignite their heritage.
Yeah.
But I think, I wonder if this Andy guy that's going to take over.
He's bad.
He's Labor, right? But it's Labor's answer against Farage, and they're thinking that Farage's political party is starting to lose steam. I personally think Britain needs Farage more than they need Andy.
Yeah, I think Farage is a good interim. Maybe he's not the best, but at least a good interim to bring things back to order. There's someone else though. There's another person. There's another one. Forgot the name of it, but there's also another one. The problem is the Labour Party. They have a lot of those illegal immigrants voting. That helps them. So with all the craziness that's going on in Britain, there's a lot of people still vote for Labour because they have the endorsement of all the unions. So they got the unions backing. So they basically the bakers don't have to do much, and they get elected. But now the unions are turning their back on. The unions are turning their back on the Labour Party because they realize that the Labour Party is just not good. They're not really doing anything good. So they're turning into reform. So hopefully, if reform can get the laborers to get the unions to vote for them, they will have a good chance, because otherwise, if they're still going to go with Labour, then, unfortunately, UK is just going to self-sabotage, and there's also a really big force behind this. It's King Charles. King Charles is also at fault with what's going on with UK. He's a very woke king. He didn't. He didn't give a Christmas speech, right?
He did.
Every single.
He did.
Huh?
Yeah, he did.
No, every single year. No, Easter speech. Sorry, Easter. Every year, Queen Elizabeth would do something Easter, like a speech or something. He didn't do it this year.
I don't know
King
about
Charles
Easter.
didn't do it this year.
I don't know about Easter, but
because he wants religious diversity, and he's so afraid to be seen as only for Christians. He doesn't want to be seen as only the for only, So he's being very pussy about it, and people in Britain have been criticizing him for not standing up for the Christian values. That's why King Charles is very, very unpopular. And all the atrocities that's been done to British people, girls being raped by the immigrants, the stabbings and stuff like that, not a pip from the king. The king didn't say nothing. So I think the British monarchy is going downhill with King Charles, because we all know that the woke idea doesn't work. And he's still hanging on to it. He's fucking scared shitless. He's pussy. He want to be able to cater to everyone, and everyone's like the Hindus, the Muslims, the Sikh, and he doesn't, he's afraid to be called a Christian. That's why during the coronation, during the coronation, he had every single faith to come in, that he be anointed as their monarch as well. The Jews, the Muslims, the Sikh, the Buddhists, whatever. He's like a buffet. All you can eat buffet, It's all in. When he's all in, he can't be wrong, right? And he's a pussy. He doesn't stand up for the British value. So what is the point for me to buy a Victorian plate with his fucking face on it? Because he doesn't have a cushion value. It's contradiction. And I think Britain's going to go down with it because he lost his identity. The British identity is English. Like fucking Victorian era, the Elizabeth era, the Shakespeare's and all that. That's all based on Christian value. Now they're trying to erase that identity and to be more diverse. That's the wrong approach. That's what Labour has been doing, and that's why Keir Starmer had to step down because he's doing such a bad job. And they think that install someone else is going to fix the problem. No, it's not going to fix the problem. They're just lying to the British people. And it's sad. It's really sad to see, like, you think about, like, in the early 20th century, the British Empire, they go to expeditions, they such a powerful nation, and America was nothing, nothing compared to the British Empire, right? And the all their glory, right? And now they're just reduced to nothing, and it's good luck to them. I mean, so America, if you really want to talk about allies, America really doesn't have a decent ally. The UK, UK is.
Well, I think that there's a difference between the people of the country and the leaders of the country. To your point, the leaders, especially in Israel and in the UK, Europe, I personally don't think that we have stability with our allies. You can't trust them. Yeah,
especially Europe is still very woke.
I don't think we can trust. I don't think we can trust the Israeli leadership either.
But the European people are actually fighting back their country. I saw yesterday there was a news that there was a huge protest in Europe. I forgot which country. I think it's France or one of those large, or Germany, one of those large countries, and the people wanted the government to kick them out, to kick out all the immigrants and all the immigrants. The people are fighting back.
I thought it was Britain.
No, it wasn't just Britain. Britain has been protesting, but now it's spreading to the other European countries because they have the same problem. It's socialism, They're not making any progress in terms of, like, America. We have AI, we have SpaceX, and all that. And I tell you, people get jealous. Like, oh my God, look at what America's doing so well, this and that. I tell you, people get jealous, and they're gonna look at themselves and say,
SpaceX is set to raise $25 billion in high-grade bond sale.
Oh, SpaceX?
Yeah.
Why are they issuing bonds?
Exactly.
Well,
they need money to develop the rockets and all this.
SpaceX is like one of those companies that who could make the call. You understand what I mean? They're the movers. They can do whatever they want.
SpaceX is
just follow.
I think SpaceX is a
I
huge
don't know. That's
bet.
a good thing.
It's a huge bet, and it could go bankrupt. I would not bet against Elon Musk, but this is a major gamble because you don't know. It's all predicated on these starships being able to be recycled.
Yeah. This is irrational exuberance at its best. Because I haven't seen anything yet. All the traditional way to analyze a company, how profitable they can be and all that, you can't apply it to SpaceX. Because people are just thinking that it's a Steve Jobs effect, just he's going to make great things. Really? Is he really? I don't know. He's made a lot of mistakes in business. He's not always right. And he's crazy and unpredictable.
I think he's emotionally unstable.
What?
I think that Elon Musk is emotionally unstable.
Is what?
Emotionally unstable.
Emotion is unstable? Well,
I think Elon Musk is emotionally unstable.
Yeah, so, he's kind of like a crazy scientist, I mean, I'd rather bet on Steve Jobs than Elon Musk, because Steve Jobs knows he's very control, and he's very, he knows what he's doing. Elon Musk,
well, I think that, the problem is that they're different. Steve Jobs, he was a control freak. I don't think Elon Musk is a control freak.
No, I don't think.
But I do think that Elon Musk had a higher IQ than Steve Jobs. Elon Musk is more of an inventor.
Well, he definitely has vision.
He's more of an engineering inventor kind of type person. Both have a very strong creative side.
Yeah.
But if you probably did a standardized IQ, I think Elon Musk would score higher than Steve Jobs. I think Steve Jobs would score higher on EQ, standardized test.
Yeah, I think but I still I'm gonna say that so far the entire world has changed by Steve Jobs more so than Elon Musk. But you're talking about like Tesla. Do I really need a Tesla? No, I don't. But do I need an iPhone?
But let's just be honest. Let's be honest.
What?
Let's be honest. The computerization of our lives through laptops, desktops, iPhones, iPods, iPads, that's low-hanging fruit in terms of technology versus what Elon Musk is doing, where he's trying to develop planetary exploration. That's high-hanging fruit. That's extremely, what he's doing is extremely difficult with high risk.
Yeah, exactly.
It was difficult for Steve Jobs with the computerization, but not impossible.
That's why I say
Elon Musk is flirting with the impossible.
No, not just that, but he doesn't have a clear vision. Elon Musk is everywhere. Does he want to do Tesla? Does he want to do SpaceX? Does he want to do,
this is why I think that he has a...
chips.
Yeah.
He's doing so many things at the same time. It's like, we don't really, what is their true identity? It seems like he's just calling out shots. I want to do this, I want to do that. He's want to do so many things at the same time. Can he just do one thing well, like Steve Jobs? Steve Jobs focus on one thing, and they do very well, and they're $1 trillion company, and they changed the entire, civilization, But what about Elon Musk? What exactly does he want to do? You know, space exploration. So for what? What can you make?
I think,
what kind
Steve,
of money can
this
out
is-
of you know what is it, space travel? You know, I mean, come on. You know, so I highly doubt. I don't know what Elon Musk. What is the end game for Elon Musk? To build a data center in space?
No.
Okay, so what?
No. His end game is to land on the moon, colonize it, land on Mars, colonize it. That's his
Who
end
the
game.
fuck want to go to the moon?
Because
You
it's to stay this. If he's right, a lot of people are going to view life on Earth being almost like a prison, an AI prison, and they're going to want to leave. Just like how people wanted to leave Europe and leave England to come to the New World. He's like the modern day, he's a combination of Tesla, he's a combination of Nikola Tesla, Steve Jobs, and Christopher Columbus.
So he's gonna create his empire on the moon and call himself King Musk.
Yeah, basically.
Is that it?
Yeah, basically. And there's going to be a lot of people that will want to go there.
You know what?
You're gonna have tens of thousands of people.
Let him go to the moon so we can all forget about him. How's that?
10,000. You'll have more than 10,000 people wanting to leave this planet to live permanently on the moon or on
I
Mars.
tell you, I'm waiting for the next fight between Besson and Elon Musk. I tell you, Besson hates Elon Musk's guts. Okay, and I think Besson has you know, if I have to bet, I think in terms of IQ, EQ, whatever, Scott Besson is still better than Elon Musk. Okay, and if Elon Musk wants to go to the moon, go ahead. No, I think you're right to, you know, like there are people, there are companies that wanted to do this, but then again, it's not revolutionizing anybody's lives. It's just, okay, you have the money, you can go, but even if I don't go, it's not going to affect me that much, you know.
The question is, with all this technology build out and the problems of degrading the environment and the social problems that we're seeing locally and globally, there is going to be a lot. I think there are going to be a lot of people out there that are going to say, I want to escape this hell and go to a new world and never come back. Very similar to the people that traveled on a little boat, a wooden boat, to get to the new world. Now, some of them died out, many of them died out. But eventually, mankind's future is to get off this planet. And the springboard of that is probably a culmination of technology and this view of society being a hellhole on Earth. And we're getting close to that. We're getting close to this threshold point. Especially the youth. People that are young, and they're let's say in the 15s, about 15 years old, all the way to about 25. They're probably willing to say hell with this and leave.
I'll tell you, the first group of people that go to the moon, you know who is the first group of people that will go to the moon? The Hispanic construction workers.
No, it's going to be the robot. This is part of the reason why he's doing the robots, to send the robots out there to build the infrastructure.
I don't see the point.
But people are going to want to leave this planet because they're going to view the tyranny of the government, and the taxation and the lack of freedom versus risking your life on a new world. And people are going to take that. People are going to take that risk.
America's great. I mean, maybe people from China, they want to escape to the moon from the prosecution of the communists. That's fine. You know,
But the problem is
America.
we're of an age where we remember what America used to be in the 80s, 90s. People today that are being born, or the ones that are in school, in college now, they really don't understand what it was like to see so many farms. But all the farmland has been developed for the last 20 years. I mean, Michigan had a lot of farmland 20 years ago. Now it's all been built up, turned into condos and turned into single family homes that are McMansions. All that farmland's gone. But when I was a kid, farmland was plentiful, especially cornfields. That's all gone now. So the world is moving towards this developer world where you have a bunch of private equity companies and a bunch of individual developers trying to make money. We always keep on hearing in the data sets on the news organizations like Bloomberg or CNBC on new home sales and construction, you know, driving the GDP. Eventually we run out of land and we literally degrade the earth. Just look at like an inner city like New York or Queens, Bronx, or you know, some of the cities in New Jersey or Detroit. Hundreds of years ago, this used to be sparse, and there was land, and there was farming. It's all been built up. Now fast forward 200 years, and you look at something that used to be agricultural, and it's literally a shithole filled with a bunch of drug addicts. And people urinating on the sidewalk. That's what we have as society. But yet it grew our GDP. But yet the quality of life is terrible. And so when we burn up, when we build up over all of this farmland, people are going to say they want something different. They'll want to escape this urban hellhole.
Mm-hmm.
To fully understand what I'm talking about, you have to look at what has happened to New York in the last 400 years, and just like really pay attention to the encroachment of mankind on nature for the sake of GDP growth or personal profit, and then expand that out in the last 50 years with the expansion of the suburbs. Now, the United States is relatively young, so we still have farmland and we still have open land, especially in the West and the Midwest. But it's gonna get to a point 200-300 years from now that most of the high quality land is all gone. It's either has a data center on it, a windmill, or a solar panel farm, or a bunch of condos. And now the reason why people don't go totally crazy in New York is because we have a decent amount of parks, especially Central Park, to be able to decompress and at least get some sort of connection to nature. But there's certain areas of the country that don't have that. And literally these areas, they have mental problems. The society, the mental instability with the children and the adults in these societies that are detached from nature has skyrocketed because of this. So all of these problems, taxation, degradation of freedoms, of the environment, people are going to say, you know what, it's better to risk your life on a rocket to see if you can have a better life on Mars and to do something that is extraordinary. There are going to be a lot of people that want to do this. So that's what that's what Elon is betting on. But he's not a spring chicken anymore. So, you know, he's going to be running on a runway to be able to get this all done. So he has to get it. He has to be able to land stuff on Mars within the next 10 years, or it's not going to happen.
Well, no,
Now, if he doesn't do it, then there'll be probably a hiatus, and there'll be another 50 or 100 year wait before someone else does something similar and makes it happen.
I mean, the value of Elon Musk is the fact that, you know, he is not afraid to dream up something, you know, and he has the capital to make his project come to fruition. So, he himself is valuable. That's why people invest in him, you know. But whether or not these new ideas, you know, is gonna come to fruition, you know.
Well, SpaceX was trading down earlier, and now it's up $8. It's trading at 165 right now.
So it bounced back?
Yeah, it bounced back a little bit. It was trading at 190